Hello, what is up everyone? It is me Jacob and today I am back with yet another video. In today's video I'm going to be sharing the list of my top podcasts to listen to just because I feel like podcasts are like really hot in the culture right now and you can really benefit if you listen to the right podcast. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Also at the end I will share the best apps to use for listening to podcasts for both iOS and Android. Also it's No Shave November, so don't mind the weird beard. Okay, so I decided to divide these podcasts into three categories. The first one is business/motivation podcast. The second one is language learning, and the third one is I have some spare time and want my ears lit. So that's it. Okay, so the first one is business and motivation, and in this category, the winner is pretty obvious for me. It is Gary Vaynerchuk's podcast called the Gary Vee Audio Experience. For those of you who don't know, Gary Vee is a business/entrepreneur/YouTuber/vlogger. He does a lot of stuff. I'll link his channel down below because he's like one of my top favorite YouTubers right now. I've been watching Gary's videos for over a year, but I've been listening to his podcasts lately. I like to listen to it while I'm traveling or maybe in the gym, just because it's like really motivating and it really does get you pumped up enough so that you can listen to it in the gym instead of some, I don't know, dubstep music. So his podcast is mainly business/motivation/ big life truths and just thinking about all of these, I wouldn't say purposes of life and stuff like that, but just a way to make your life better by treating others better and by working hard. And just listen to it. You'll love it. I promise you. What I really like about his podcast is that it really makes me think harder about my own life choices, and a lot of his messages and the truths that he speaks can be implemented into your only daily life and routine to make your life and the lives of other people around you better. So that's why I absolutely can recommend this podcast, Gary Vee Audio Experience. The second category is language learning. Now, when I started learning German for the C1 level for my certificate for college, I really needed to do more listening. Whether it's listening to podcasts, music, watching movies, you need to do a lot of listening if you want to progress towards those higher levels of language knowledge. These two podcasts won't only help you with that, but they will also keep you well informed as they are both news podcasts. So the first one is called Langsam gesprochene Nachrichten, which is German for slowly spoken news. It is a daily podcast by Deutsche Welle about the news all around the world. And the best thing about it is that they speak really, really slowly. Also, while you're listening, you can read the transcript, which makes it a lot easier to understand when you're actually reading what you're also listening. It just makes it really easy. And the best thing is that you can use automatic translation tools like Readlang, which I talked about in my previous video. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. There is a link down below. It is basically a tool that allows you to just click on any word, on the internet when you have the Chrome extension on, and it will translate it. So this way, while you're listening, you can watch the transcript. If you don't understand a word, you just click on it, it translates it. It's really easy to pick up on new words, and it is amazing. Try it. There is also an option to listen at normal speed if you want. So once to advance for the slowly spoken news, you can progress towards the faster spoken news. The second one is called Wirtschaft, aka Business. It is a 15 to 20 minute long podcast about the business news all around the world, and it's awesome. It covers the most important topics from the business world with emphasis on international economy and trade, but it also gives a really good insight on other problems such as climate change and others. So I really recommend it. There's a lot of, business vocabulary that I have managed to learn from listening to this podcast. This one does not have an option for slow playback, which is kind of a bummer if you're just a beginner, but this podcast is aimed towards people who are on higher levels of German anyway. So maybe if it's too complicated for you, you should start with the slowly spoken news podcast. The cool thing about these two podcasts is that over time you will see that you're really progressing in your language skills, in your listening skills, in your understanding skills. When I started listening to these podcasts, of course, I started to listening to the slowly spoken news first, and I could barely understand, every third word, I don't know. And then I gradually over time listened to this podcast and moved over to the business podcast. And now I can understand the business podcast almost everything perfectly. So progress is real and just keep at it. It's like 20 minutes every day. If you listen to both, just take that time to really work on your language skills, to invest in your own language knowledge, and you won't be sorry, I promise. Okay, so the last category was I have some spare time and I want my ears lit. For this topic, I can recommend the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Now, Joe Rogan, for those of you who don't know, is a comedian and podcaster. Is that even a word? I don't know. He has one of the most, if not the most popular podcast in the world, with like millions of views on every single episode that he puts out. His episodes are sometimes over 3 hours long, so I just don't find the time to listen to every single one of his podcasts, and I almost never completely finish them. But there are always people down in the description on YouTube who, just leave the key points of the podcast, so I'll listen to those. And then he also sometimes drops like summaries on his second channel. But some of them I did listen all the way through, like the Elon Musk podcast. So he has a lot of celebrities from all walks of life, from business to music to entrepreneurship. So a lot of interesting people that are well known in the community. And I really find it interesting to, hear them converse on what are usually some very interesting topics. Well, that would be it. I think it's really useful to implement these podcasts into your daily routine, especially the first two categories, so the language learning and the business/motivation podcasts. These will really have an impact on your life. They had an impact on my life, and I feel like you should really try them and judge for yourselves. So the links to everything I've talked about are down below in the description. I just want to mention the two apps that are the best for listening to podcasts. For Android, I use the Google Podcasts app. And for Apple, I've seen a lot of people just use iTunes, aka Apple Music, to listen to podcasts. If you have Spotify, that's a great app. You can also listen to podcasts there. There is the Podcaster app. A lot of people upload their podcasts to SoundCloud as well. But for Android, I would stick with the Google Podcasts app, and for Apple with Apple Music. That will be it. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell me down in the description below what are some really cool video ideas and things that you would like me to cover. I have so many more cool videos planned for this week and the next week. They're coming, don't worry. Thank you all so much for the support. Once again, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you all next time. Peace.